Hey, how's everybody doing? Alright, so now I'm going to be talking about Virgo. I'm done with my readings for the moment until I actually finish the book. Um, so, um, Now it's back to the normal schedule program, or basically mostly what it is. So, Virgo is my sign. Um, So let's take a look. This is just going to be a short introduction before I, go deeper into the signs. So here we go. Virgo is a feminine sign. It's an earth sign. It's mutable. Virgo is reserved, modest, practical, discriminating, industrious, analytical, painstaking, and seeking to know and understand. Um, the ruling planet is Mercury, but the actual ruling planet of Virgo is actually what you would call Vulcan, which is a planet that may have, according to myth and lore or what they can put together, got devoured by the sun. So Mercury rules intelligence and reason. Virgo represents purity, modesty, industriousness, and service of oneself and one's talents toward helping others. The glyph represents a wisdom tied to feeling and emotion crossed by practicality. Their key word is I analyze. Their polarity is Pisces. The part of the body ruled by Virgo is the nervous system and the intestines. Virgos are prone to illnesses caused by stress and nervous tension. There is a possibility that a Virgo may also get ulcers. And we'll talk about those health issues later. Um, Danger. Virgo people sometimes arouse anger and violence in others because of their tendency to interfere, their critical tongues, and their unemotional attitudes. Um, yeah, that can be true. I've probably aroused anger in doing that, but in a way, it's also maybe the way that we're hardwired, I would like to say. Because, for example, like, I used to be a very depressed individual, and I found what I would consider to be the cure to that, and that is to think positive, not negative. I mean, we get all this fear and negativity brought into our world, and it tends to make us think negative and downward. So why not try the opposite? A lot of my solutions, that's what it is. If this isn't working, well, let's go to the opposite and see if that works. So, like, I'm I'm online a lot. I remember talking to somebody on a site that I'm on called Prosbox, and they were talking about how they're depressed and that there's no cure and more and more and more. And I was just like, well, I kind of cured myself by thinking positive. I completely, changed my life and moved it on this forward motion. And she was like, well, I understand that you're trying to help, but there is no cure for this. And when we see situations or people where it seems like they're calling out for help, Virgo just wants to instantaneously just like provide their help. And more than likely that's what we're giving. We're giving our insights, our help. We're not telling you how to live your life. We're giving you maybe suggestions that you haven't thought of before. And we're giving our time and being unselfish in the manner in which we're doing it. But then, yet, they come back at us like, oh, you just can't do anything. I'm just going to be depressed forever. Virgo's not like that because we're We like to get things done. We're always geared toward getting things done. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I already have a list of things that I gotta get done. Um, and so we see that as possibly somewhat selfish in a way. You know, when somebody tells us that, oh, no, you can't do that, you know, there's no cure for depression because science says there's no cure for depression. Well, science, especially today, is a bunch of BS. The medicine is an industry, and what do industries want to do? They just want to rake in money. There's a patent. The United States actually has a patent for the AIDS cure, using something, I think it was like tetrasilver or something like that. But yet the public doesn't know about that. That there's a good possibility, I don't know if all the studies are done, but there's a good possibility that we can cure AIDS. But yet, no, we're just gonna make you buy more medication. You're gonna still have AIDS. And yeah, there's gonna come to a point where you can't transmit it. But, you know, that's okay. You know, we'll just leave it right there. And to me, that is unacceptable. So, you know, and that is brought on by greed, and you can relate that to the other person who says that there's no cure, is that you're being selfish in that, in my and probably other Virgo's opinion, that you're being selfish in trying to say that, you know, this is the way it is, when there's a whole bunch of other ways. And I brought this up on Twitter too the other day, you know, and yeah, it did have to kind of do with the whole mass situation, but, you know, and the way how people are deceived the most is by creating the false dilemma. And so let's take mask. Oh, you gotta wear a mask. Well, no, you don't. Mask and 6 feet aren't the only solutions. Masks, for one, I mean, there's a whole bunch of, like, problems right there. I mean, your breath has moisture in it, and it's getting caught in these masks. And moisture automatically, water, creates life, bacteria, and other things. Yeah, bacteria and all that's going to get trapped in there, but viruses aren't. And if they do, it's going to be very little, because you got to think that you're going to have to look at that mask at a nano size, because not even a microscope can see a virus. So nanoparticles are just going to go through those masks at whatever degree possible. Even if it's caught in water droplets, it's still going to make its way through, and it's still going to travel. Because not everything is caught in a mask. I mean, you can just put your hand up and breathe through it, and you can kind of just tell on that. And then what it does, it's not only trapping like that moisture and stuff like that in there, but it's also collecting dust particles and other things. You also got your own breath that you got to worry about depending on the mask, because some of the masks are designed to collect all those particles so that it traps anything from escaping, and so that you got to worry about the hit back from your mask. And then you also got to think about those things weren't made to be like washed over and over again and reused over and over again. So at some point, just wear and tear is going to go away. And water is not only an element of giving life, but it's also an element of destruction too. Man, I went off on a weird tangent there. But so I'm trying to make kind of like several points that the mask false dilemma is that it's the only way. They perceive it as the only way, and then they give you the option, like, you're saving other people's lives, and you're saving your life as too. And it's not the only way. There are other ways, like, for instance, building your own immune system. There are ways to do that without, you know, trying to go out there and catch the virus, like cayenne pepper, or going out and absorbing the vitamin D of the sun. Um, you know, there's several other ways to do things than just one way, but humans don't like many options. They like narrow options, and therefore you create a false dilemma by making it seem like this is the only way, and the only other way is disaster, ruin. And to me, that is just ridiculous. One of the things that Virgo does the most is they think. And right now, especially in this day and age with so much false narratives and false realities, CGI, all this other stuff, we need people who can critically, critically think, so that we can advance our consciousness and move forward with things. And that's one job that a Virgo does, as long as the hard work to do it. Because they are the workload of the zodiac. They get shit done. And that is my introduction video. Kind of went longer than what I thought, but anyways, so I mean, that was just my perspective, but yeah, I do realize that we do tend to arouse anger in that, but maybe it's needed anger to wake up your mind. But anyways, everybody have a good one, and hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you later. Alright, bye.